What's up, everybody? So, this is week 2 of Teen Mom Family Reunion, and it's picking up steam a little bit in this second episode. The second episode was definitely better than the first, and we get to see part 1 of the confrontation between Ashley, T, Brianna, and Roxanne. So it starts off with everybody waking up from the morning after a long day of bungee jumping off of the bridge. And people are getting up, fixing themselves breakfast. So it starts off with Ashley and her mom in the kitchen getting themselves something to eat. Ashley says, she was nauseous yesterday. Now she's just hungry today. And Brianna and Roxanne walk into the kitchen, and it's awkward as hell because they are not speaking to each other, but they're speaking to everybody around them. Well, Roxanne and Brianna and Ashley aren't speaking to each other, but it did seem like T went out of her way to say good morning to Roxanne and to Brianna. I don't know how it was edited, but they didn't even look in her direction, and I thought it was very rude. If somebody is speaking to you, the least you can say is hello. Just be cordial. Brianna makes a statement that says that she's not going to speak to T because she knows how she is, fake as hell. And Roxanne, old ass, like, I'm sorry, like, at some point, just have a little bit of couth about you. You ain't got to be friends with the person, but you can speak and keep it moving. Roxanne's like, she don't like them, so she don't want to look at them and she don't want to talk to them. I mean, I get it. But do you guys know how much energy it takes to be in the house with somebody that you don't like and you are like ignoring them? It takes way more energy to ignore them than it just does to say hey and go on about your day. Like, the tension, they said, was so thick you could cut it with a knife. So imagine how the rest of the Teen Mom girls feel around all this damn tension. Like, I would have to say something like, y'all are making it very uncomfortable for us in this house. Get it together. So they're doing that. And the girls are out on the patio eating breakfast, and Cheyenne, who is trying to get to know the young and pregnant girls more because she really doesn't know them, asked Kayla, about her because she doesn't know Kayla, just knows her from what she's seen on the internet. So she asked about her relationship and stuff like that, and Kayla's like, her and Luke are not together, but they're co-parenting in the same house. And her mama adds that, yeah, they're co-parenting in my house and sleeping in the same bed, but they claim they're not together. How toxic do that sound? Like, at least sleep on the couch if you guys are claiming not to be together and just co-parenting up under one roof. Weird. But she goes down the whole list about how Luke asked her to marry him and he thought that that was going to fix the relationship, and it just didn't because she gave him a list of things to do, like fix your mental health, get a gym membership, do something, because he was clearly depressed in that relationship and he hadn't fixed anything. So she refuses to get back with him. If you guys don't know the history of Kayla and Luke, they ain't together, and it's just not going to work because he cheated and she can't let it go. That's just basically what it is. So while everybody is outside, Ashley gets this phone call from Barr, who is in jail during the filming of this show, and he says that he's being extradited from Nevada to California because he has outstanding warrants in California. So basically, Ashley thought that he was going to be in Nevada, he was going to do a little bit of time, and he was going to go back home, but they decided to try him in California. So they're shipping him from Nevada to California, and that was devastating to her and her mom. So she gets the phone call and she's crying and she does not want to be bothered with anybody, and her mom is consoling her, but nobody else seems to care what Ashley has going on. And according to Kayla Sessler on Twitter last night, it was edited this way to make it seem like nobody gave a fuck what was going on with Ashley, when a lot of people asked her what was wrong and if she was okay and came over to console her, and they did not air that footage. So Ashley says, that she has a lot going on and she does not want to be bothered. She feels depleted. And even though she does like some of the girls there, she don't want them in her business. So her and her mom, T, go back to the room to go back to sleep. But before they go back to sleep, they're walking down the road, leaving the main house, going to, their separate bedrooms. And she's like, Roxanne got one more time because she's too close to me. She's coming and she's a little bit bumping into me. Can't say excuse me, won't say anything. And she got one motherfucking time, and I'm going to air this out. Can't wait to see it. Because to be honest, I believe that Roxanne is being petty and kind of bumping into them and like flirting off and stuff. Like, girl, if you got something to say, just say it. So in the next scene, Kate decides to sit with Kaya outside. So I'm guessing that Kate is kind of like the instigator this season, or because MTV gave her the role, quote unquote, of planning this trip, she feels the need to ask everybody what's wrong and check on everybody all the time and get to the bottom of drama. So she pulls Kaya to the side and she says, "What's the tension between you and Ashley?" Just straightforward. And Kaya's like, 2 years ago, we were both selling eyelashes. I had a business, she had a business. Then somebody said that she was copying me, and she made a whole post to say that she's not copying me because she doesn't scam. Because, like I told you guys in the last video, besides selling lashes and homemade kitchen lip gloss, Kaya was also doing that damn pyramid scheme where if you give me $50 and the next person give me $50, then we gonna eventually cash out of this bitch. She was doing that. So a lot of people were, calling her out for scamming because that's what it was. It was a pyramid scam. So maybe Ashley was being shady when she made her post and said, "Listen, don't compare me to nobody because I'm not scamming." But Kaya definitely took that to heart and, got on live and just started ranting and raving and calling Ashley all type of names and blah, blah, blah. She took it really personal. So she's telling Kate this and says that Ashley just wouldn't stop. Ashley was in her inbox and saying, "You mad at me for no reason. I ain't been nothing but nice to you." And that's why those two don't like each other. I mean, back during COVID, everybody was doing whatever they could to get some money, including those pyramid scams. They were all over the internet, and the kitchen lip gloss and the damn lashes. So I don't, this beef just seems very superficial to me. But Kaya is holding on to it for dear life and not letting it go for whatever reason. And if you ask me, it's because it's popular not to let no beef go with Ashley right now. So the next scene is all of the moms except for Ashley and T. They're not there. But the grandmas are getting along really good. Everybody's drinking, talking about their stories, about how they were teen moms as well, and how their great-great-grandmas was 12, dating 40-year-old men. And it was just a nice little kiki for them. And the girls are over in the corner talking about, their BBLs, their selective surgeries. And Bree's talking about how she got Dr. Miami on speed dial. And he's about to take all her boobs out because she wants a flat chest. So this is going to be plastic surgery number, I don't know. All of these girls, I think, have had plastic surgery, except maybe not Kate and Macy. Okay, none of the OG girls, I believe, have had it except for Cheyenne. So I noticed that MTV did not get a private pool for the girls. Because as Kate is trying to talk to her mom about Dr. B and the exercises and stuff, there's kids like jumping off the diving board and stuff in the background. I'm like, really, MTV? So then Dr. B finally comes. You can tell that April is a little lit, okay, as is. She's a little lit, so keep that in mind. Kate's mom has had one or two Trulies. So Dr. B comes. Everybody pretends to be so surprised when she says, "We're going to do another workshop." Like, people's mouth drops and shit. I'm like, y'all know why y'all here. Like, this show is a little dramatic. So she tells everybody to go change into something that you're not afraid to get dirty. And that's when they arrive at the mud pit. But she does ask where T and Ashley is, and she says that Ashley was not feeling well. However, after Dr. B told them what they were going to be doing, Kate and her mama April went to go check on them. Basically, they knocked on the door screaming, "Mama T, get up." Went in there and said, "We're about to do this exercise, so if you guys want to participate, we're just letting you know because you've been in this room all day." So Ashley and her mom finally decide to, participate and be around the others, and they get ready and they go because they claim they love April and Kate. They don't want to let them down. So they get to this mud pit. Now, from my understanding, the objective of the mud pit is basically to say what has been holding you back from your mom and have your mom pull you through all of the issues that you have, or something like that. That was the premises. So Ashley and T go first, and the daughters are the one that's going to be getting into the mud. So Ashley's in the mud, and Dr. B is like, "So what do you want to tell your mom? What's been holding you back?" And Ashley's like, "The fact that you won't let me go, you won't let me be a woman, and you won't trust that you've raised me to be a good woman." So T starts pulling her in, and she says the issues that she has is that, she wants to protect her from everything that she saw and the mistakes that she made. She wants to protect her from abuse, molestation, dope, even bar. And it was very emotional, and T started crying, and Brianna makes a comment to say that she thinks that the trauma that T was saying that she had was fake, and she believes that Ashley and T are fake. And I'm just like, okay. I don't understand why Brianna would comment on her trauma and say that she thinks that T was faking it because she didn't have no tears coming out her eyes. Because every time Roxanne cries on Teen Mom 2, Brianna's like, why the hell are you crying? So I just don't see why she's speaking on somebody she doesn't know and their trauma. But her and her mom are next, and Dr. B's like, what do you want to work on with mom? And she says, I want to work on my emotions and my feelings because mom, you raised me to be so strong that I don't have any emotions and any feelings, and sometimes I want to feel. And Roxanne immediately starts crying and says that she failed as a mother, and she wanted Brianna to be so strong because she had to be so strong because they've never really had any men in their life. Roxanne's father walked out on her, and then the cycles kind of repeated, and that was very sad to everybody that was in attendance, and everybody was crying, and Roxanne pulled her daughter up, and she was a hot mess, and everybody kind of gathered around Bree and was like, I'm so proud of you for sharing and stuff like that. And at this point, I'm like, MTV, you have to be editing this way because nobody really crowded around Ashley and T. It was kind of like glossed over, move on to the next person. This has to be editing, right? Anyway. So next up is Kate and April, and this is where it gets real and it gets weird because April has had a couple of drinks. Like I told you, she was getting drunk at the pool, so she's a little tipsy, drunk, borderline, almost about to pass out. So they're doing this exercise, and they're like, Coach B's like, what do you want to work on with your mom? And Kate says she wants to work on, not having to be the perfect daughter, and you come to me for everything, and I have to be there for everybody, and I have the perfect marriage, and I have the perfect life, because it's just not true. And so Coach B's like, well, who's the mom and who's the daughter in this relationship? Kate says she's the mom, but sometimes I feel like I'm the mom. And, I want her to know that she raised me to be a strong woman, that I can think on my own. I don't need my husband, because she throw my husband in my face too. So, this, pisses April off. But I don't even think it pissed her off that much. I just think she was drunk. She starts aggressively trying to pull Kate in and saying stuff like, you're perfect and you're this, you're that. Don't you think I know that? Don't you think I know you're strong? It was really weird. People started saying that it was weird. I think Brianna was in her confessional saying it was weird. And then at some point, April dropped the rope altogether because Dr. B was literally trying to get her to chill out. Like, Kate's in the mud crying because her mom is acting a fool. I don't think there was any resolution between Kate and her mom, even though they hugged it out and act like it was. I think that April is just jealous of Kate. Period. Since the early OG days, I just feel like she's jealous. So even though all the moms participated in this Teen Mom Family Reunion, I guess they didn't have enough time to show everybody. So the last person who went was Kayla and her mom, Jamie. So when Dr. B asked them what they wanted to work on, Kayla said that she wanted to work on the fact that her mom doesn't let her be a mom. I guess because Kayla still lives at home, or she moved back home. Her mom kind of criticizes her and takes on the responsibilities of being a parent, even though Kayla is there. Kayla says she feels like her mom doesn't help her. She just criticizes her and say, you could be doing this better, that better, this, that, and the third, but you don't do it. And Jamie's like, well, I don't try to do that. And in the same breath, she turned around and said, I think you're a great mom. I mean, you live at home with your baby daddy in my house. And Kayla's like, see, like, that's what I'm talking about. So it was like a light bulb switched off in Jamie's head. She's like, you know what? I'm sorry. You're a great friend. I love you. You're this, that, and the third. It seems like a power struggle between Kayla and her mom, where maybe she won't get the respect that she feels like she deserves from her mom until she moves out, cut those strings, and so on and so forth. Because I know she had a house of her own, but because Luke was quote unquote dead weight, as she said on Twitter, she probably didn't have the means to move out. So, great exercise altogether. Everybody got emotional. They all jump in the mud at the end of this situation and then head back to the house. So this is the part where everybody's talking about it on social media and everybody's ranting and raving about it and trying to see who was right and who was wrong. So when they get back to the house, basically everybody's sitting around the table before they go to their, prospective rooms across the street and stuff like that. And they're basically saying, you guys, we learned a lot about each other. I learned a lot. I'm starting to know you and you individually. Basically, Cheyenne was saying this about the moms. And then Kate out of nowhere was like, yeah, we all need to stick together. We don't need to be talking shit about each other on social media. I'm telling you, if you guys watched the episode, it literally came out of nowhere that Kate said this. And so Roxanne was like, you sure right, you sure right. And I think that the moms at this table need to be held responsible or something to that degree. And she was definitely talking about T. So T was like, all right, Roxanne, what's up? Like, get it off your chest. So Roxanne was like, let's do it. I feel like you shouldn't have jumped into your daughter's beef that she had online. And I feel like your daughter had no business jumping into a beef that didn't involve her. Like, the disagreement was basically between Kale and Brianna, and Ashley inserted herself and started taking up for Kale and calling Brianna all type of bitches and hoes and punks. It happened, I think, last year on social media right after Ashley did Kale's podcast. And there was a comment on Brianna's Instagram about Jade and Jade's BBL story on Teen Mom 2 taking over the entire hour of Teen Mom, so they had to cut Kale's scenes, which they did because, one, Kale wasn't filming like that. When she did film, she would just fuss at the producers and tell them, I'm not filming about that. I'm not filming about that. So they cut Kale, and they had extra time to put Jade's BBL story in the episode. So Brianna didn't lie. But I feel like because Ashley was with Kale at this moment, she felt the need to take up for her. And I think that she was a little tipsy because they were drinking wine and doing this podcast together. So I do believe she was a little tipsy too. So she just goes in on Brianna and start calling her all kind of bitches and hoes and say, girl, you lying, and you use coochie cream because you got STDs. I mean, it was wild, and I do like Ashley, but I would have to say, I got to be honest, she had no business jumping in Kale and Brianna's BS, okay? Because all Kale did was sit back and laugh at the foolishness that was going on. She never said anything about Brianna in her defense. It was kind of like she told Ashley to sick 'em, and Ashley just started going ham on Brianna. And meanwhile, Brianna and Ashley didn't know each other at the time. They had never even met. So the beef was hatched from, like I told y'all videos back though, Ashley ain't never liked Brie. But just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you can't contain it. Whatever. So, no, Ashley should not have jumped into Kale's fucking beef because Kale don't fuss on the internet, okay? If anything, she addresses it on her podcast, but she never even said anything at all. So Ashley literally embarrasses herself on social media by calling Brianna all these hoes and stuff like that. So that's what Roxanne is talking about. So Roxanne is like, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, T, because you should have stopped your daughter, because I never let my daughter cuss any of these moms out the way your daughter cussed me out, because Ashley started cussing Roxanne out too. It was just a mess. If you didn't see it, it's not on my page anymore. Probably check out teenmom.t. She has that stuff from way back in the day because her page ain't never got deleted and mine has gotten deleted like 5 times. So I don't have any of that old stuff. I wish I did. Anyway, so Roxanne is getting kind of loud and spunky, and she's doing a lot of cussing and saying she doesn't give a fuck. It's none of your fucking business what her daughter does and blah, blah, blah. So T and Ashley are quiet and they let her get her spiel off. And then T says, I don't give a fuck, bitch. Da-da-da-da. Start calling her an old ass. I feel like this is what her and Ashley do. They kind of like explode in 1 second. The next thing I know, Roxanne is picking up a chair, ready to throw it. And Ashley's trying to tell Brianna, get your mom, get your mom. And Brianna's pointing her finger back at Ashley like, get your mom, get your mom. And it's supposed to be concluded because it's like to be continued. So it's supposed to be concluded on next week. And I am actually looking forward to the episode next week. Like, finally, let's get this over with and see who was at fault. Because so far, everything that Ashley said happened. Roxanne throwing furniture. Roxanne started it. I can't wait to see.